This is Cambridge IELTS 9, General Training, Reading Test B, Section 1. Let's start with the question. Railcard applicants over 25 need to be involved in. The answer would be need to be involved in full-time education. All right, so the answer is here. Alternatively, if you are a mature student over this age, which means over, okay, but in full-time education, you can also apply. So they have to be involved in full-time education. 2, for mature full-time students, one of the photographs submitted must be signed and the letter also needing to be, so get your head teacher, tutor, or head of department to sign the application form as well as one of your photos. So you one of the photos, they'll have to sign the photos. The letter, meaning the photos, also needing to be officially stamped. So the answer here is officially stamped, although officially is optional. Question 3. At certain times of the year, there are no what for rail card holders at any time of the day. At certain times of the year, there are no minimum fares. Okay. Except this, there are no, but if you what, minimum fares will apply. That means at certain times of the year, okay, there are no minimum fares. 4. If your rail card doesn't have your what, it will be impossible to use it for travel. If the rail card doesn't have your, in cases where a rail card does not bear the user's signature, it will be treated as invalid. So it will be impossible to use. It will be impossible to use it for travel. Number 5, question 5. The benefits of a rail card are not transferable to neither your rail card nor any tickets bought with it may be used by anyone else. Anybody else. Means if it has your name there, no one else can use it. Number 6, if you have no ticket but boarded a train at a station without any what, you will still be eligible for a discounted ticket. 6. Purchase facilities. So here, if you have no ticket but boarded a train at a station without any purchase facility, so you have no ticket but that's because you came onto a train at a station without any purchase facilities. There are some stations overseas, I guess this is related to probably UK, Australia, but I know in Australia there are stations where there's no you can just enter the train without a ticket, okay, because there are no purchase facilities. Of course, stations which are not very popular, right? So you will still be eligible for a discounted ticket, but only if you bought it at a station without any purchase facilities. It means you can't purchase the tickets. 7. If rail card holders wish to use the Eurostar network, they must pay the reduced rate. Tickets are not available for what? So for Eurostar, passengers will be charged the full rate if they want to use these services. So they must pay the full rate, the full price. Full fare, the answer says full rate. Okay, I don't know why the answer, well, full fare even, I mean, but probably it's better to use a full rate. Okay, but both are accepted. Okay, section, well, actually still section 1, but the next passage. Question 8. An elderly person who is also studying full-time receives a concession of? An elderly person who also, so an elderly person, the discount, the concession, discount of 25. Now, of course, this, if she's studying full-time, she's also a student, but only one discount may apply. So basically, you would get just one discount. Okay, so 25%. Large groups people who want to reserve seats should get in touch with the. Now, if you realize just now, all the answers are in order, right? Okay, because this is a sentence completion. As I showed you, sentence completion, answers are in order. But this is actually 1 to 7. Let's go to the 8 to 14 is summary. So this is a summary. Basically this, okay? And it is not always in order. That's the reason why for the first answer, you found it here. For the next answer, large groups who want to reserve seats should get in touch with the. You find it here. If you make reservation, large groups, 25 passengers, you want to make reservations, sales department. Okay, follow the capital. So if it's sales department, the capital S and D, just follow that. 10. If travelers cancel their trip, they will usually receive back the ticket price less what? So if travelers cancel their trip, ticket price less 15% before. Tickets may be refunded not later than 5 minutes before the departure of a train for a charge of 15. That means you still have to pay 15%, so less 15%. Or they may change the date of the trip by paying what of the original value? Or the journey may be changed to another day for a charge of 10%, so 10%. 12. These concessions do not apply in the case of not applicable to same-day returns. No more than 3 words, so same-day returns is fine. 13. It is the passenger's responsibility to make sure the what and what are correct. It is the passenger's responsibility to make sure when you buy a ticket, it's up to you to check that the dates and times. Dates, times. Okay, dates and times. Travelers should ensure they are ready to board the train with at least what to spare. Ticket control and access to each train platform will be open until 2 minutes. So if it's after, if it's less than 2 minutes, then you can't you can't board the access to each train platform. Okay, so you can't get on the platform. Okay, okay, so that is section 1. Now, as you can see, almost every question is in order except for number 9, which went all the way to the back. Then after that is just in order going down. Okay, so you see this is a question that relates to summary, so it's not always in order. Okay, but still pretty easy because sometimes a lot of the questions are in order in these kind of summary, note, table, flowchart, diagram completion. Okay. All right. Cambridge IELTS 9. General training. Test B, reading. Let's continue to section 2. 15, question 15. Okay, new arrivals to North America need to make sure their academic qualifications or their what are accepted. 15. So let's have a look at this. This is no more than 2 words. This is sentence completion, so it should be in order. So again, we are finding an answer in the beginning of the passage. The academic qualifications or their what are accepted. Okay, so in the beginning, these may be trade certificates, but also educational qualifications. Okay, so trade certificates. (16) A significant number of companies view what as a major requirement? A significant number of companies view what as a major requirement. Okay, so it should be below here. Significant number of companies view, but at the same time, employers see formal education as very important when hiring. Major requirement, very important, right? Formal education. Now, you could put formal. The answer that's given is you could. The formal is optional, but education is the main word you need, right? 17 people educated in North America may initially be offered a higher what than immigrants? May initially be offered, so people educated in North America. Sometimes immigrants start, sometimes, may, not always, start with lower salary level, may be offered a higher, so people in North America may be offered a higher salary level. And here salary is the main thing, level is the optional word, because both can be used, can fit into the sentence. Okay, grammatically both can fit into the sentence. 18. What courses often provide more job stability? Okay, if you go all the way down here, long-term job security, there's good potential for long-term job after completion of apprenticeship training. Courses, so you could actually, this training is kind of optional. Apprenticeship courses is, you can just leave the training out. 19, most of the effort to find work is spent trying to obtain. Obtain job interviews is more than 50% of the whole process of securing employment. So most of the effort, more than 50%, obtain job, getting job interviews. And a last question here, as more newcomers enter the workforce, what increases? As more newcomers, employers are making some improving, diversity increases. Okay. Increase diversity. Next passage. You should regard an invitation to speak as a... Remember that being asked to present is a compliment. Something good, something positive. Express your main idea in a, condense your topic, your main idea in a sentence. Don't put one sentence because here you already have a, so you don't need to put one. Okay. Try using a what to support the major points you're making. 23. Try using a story. Okay, there are 3 main points you want to think of. 3 main points. Develop a story. Try using a story to support the major points. Okay, so one of it is story. Add visual excitement. Add visual excitement to your talk by using visual, something you can see. So where does it talk about visual? A picture here. By using what? Using props. Okay, props are objects which you can use to demonstrate something. Express appreciation to your listeners for their, you can see it's all going down, right? Because this is a sentence completion exercise, and therefore it's all in order. Thank the audience for taking the time to listen to you. Express appreciation to your listeners for their time. Thank, express, what does it say here? Express appreciation, it's the same thing as thank, right? And lastly, 26, it is important to prepare well as this will increase, oops, sorry, is that 26? What will get the audience to interact? What? Should be after taking the time, right? So interact. Okay, so participate, the synonym here, participate. What will get them to participate? A game. Okay, so you have, if you're not sure, remember, if you're not sure where that answer is, always look at the other keywords like interact, audience. Okay, audience, okay, I mean that's a common, you probably find it throughout this passage, but interact. Okay, so what is a synonym for interact? Participate. Okay, it's a possible synonym. Okay, so then you look at the word near this and what actually causes people to participate. A game. 27, it is important to prepare well as this will increase your, okay, so probably it's going to be in the last paragraph. If you do this, prepare well, practice, prepare, practice. If you do this, you do your practice, you will feel a burst of, increase your burst of, which is an increase of confidence. All right, that's the end of section 2. This is Cambridge IELTS 9 General Training Test B. And we're doing section 3, the long passage. So let's start. 28. What information is given about Vanden Bouke in paragraph 3? So you have to go to paragraph 3. Okay. Then you have to, which information is that? Now, let's go to 28. The answer would be A. Okay. He narrowly avoided a dangerous situation. Where is that? Okay. Another keen paramotorist recently experienced, this is this guy, experienced a close call. A close call is something you nearly, close call means an accident or some kind of collision or something nearly happened. Okay, so you have to understand what a close call is. Next question. When the writer refers to some second-hand paramotoring equipment which was for sale, he is emphasizing that 29D. he's emphasizing. Now let's go to, it's at the end here. It talks about this you may pick up cheaper equipment secondhand. However, there was one pre-used kit advertised on a website with a bit of damage to the cage and tips of the propellers due to a rough landing. Scared myself to death, the seller reported, hence the reason for this sale. So when the writer refers to some second-hand paramotoring equipment which was for sale, his emphasis is scared myself to death, that paramotoring can be a dangerous pastime. That's why he emphasized, he mentioned that the seller actually wrote this. Okay. Question 30. The answer, the description of what happened at Lake Geneva is given to suggest that the answer is B, given to suggest that Rossi likes to do what appears impossible. Rossi likes to do what appears impossible, right? Lake Geneva. He descended into a lake where the description of what happened. Okay, so this is the description. He descended to the lake where he grabbed some water ski equipment and started water skiing while the crowd watched open mouthed. Now, when the crowd watches open mouthed, which one is true? Likes to do what appears well. If you're not just an excellent overall sportsman, you don't watch open mouthed. If this person is excellent, I mean, yeah, you may be, you may think a lot of this person, but you don't describe as the crowd watched open mouthed. Okay, probably it's that Rossi likes to do what appears impossible. Okay. 31. All right, so this is a summary. Again, it may or may not, going back to this chart again, it may or may not be in order, but at least most of the time is in one particular place. So, yes, Rossi was born, blah, blah, blah. He worked as both a military and a... Okay, firstly, what you like to do is see which part of the passage. Okay, it's probably not going to be, this summary is not going to be of the whole passage, right? The answers are all pretty much taken from this paragraph and this paragraph. Okay, so he worked as both a military and what pilot? So after flying planes for the Air Force is military, he went on to do a job as a pilot with a commercial airline. So commercial pilot. Okay, you say a military pilot, a commercial pilot, a company pilot, not the military, not the Air Force. First, 32. First, he asked a firm which made what planes? So he asked a firm which made it goes all the way first, okay? First in the beginning. You see the paraphrase is, the synonym is, where is the word here? Initially, he had approached a company called what, which specialized in miniature planes. All right. So what did it specialize in? It made miniature planes. 33. He asked a firm which made miniature planes to construct some what for him? Okay, where would that be? Approach what? To construct some, which was, but the wings they made for him. Okay, so they made for him what they made for him? Wings. 34. On a flight in May 2008, he managed to achieve a top speed of May 2008. May, within seconds, 290 at one point, reaching 300 kph, kilometers per hour. All right. And 35, easily exceeding the speed achieved by the average about 104 kilometers per hour faster than the typical falling sky diver. The average sky diver. Okay. Now remember to look at the question carefully, because the question asks for one word and or number. So 300 kph here, I guess they're treating this as one word. So a number and a word, one word and a number, or one word or a number. So and a number is okay, and everything else one word, one word, one word, one word. Okay. So you wouldn't write, for example, typical falling skydiver, okay, or falling skydiver, or typical skydiver, because you only have one word. Okay. 36. So this would be pretty much in our chart here. This is matching features. Okay, so it's not going to be in order. 36, which person are you talking about? He acknowledges the role of his equipment in enabling him to set a flying record. Right? So 36, he acknowledges the role of his equipment. Now, this is matching features. Is it in order? No. Okay, so don't expect it to be. Role of the equipment. Without these special wings, okay, it is doubtful he would have managed to do this. Rossi says he has become the first person to maintain a stable horizontal flight thanks to aerodynamic carbon. So he actually he acknowledged the role of his equipment in enabling him to set, first person to maintain, okay, this is the record. Okay, so this guy, Rossi. So that would be D. 36 is D. He explains how he uses his flying expertise to promote a product. He explains how he uses his flying expertise to promote a product. Now he works for an energy drink company that pays him to travel around the world with his jetpack. Okay, I get to do what I love, and wherever I go, I advertise. Okay, so who's this guy? Scott, Eric Scott. Eric Scott is A. So 37, he explains how he uses his flying expertise to promote a product. So 37, the answer for 37 would be A. 38, he explains what led him to experiment with different ways of flying. With different ways of flying. He explains what led him to experiment. Okay, what made him want to do, go and explore different ways of flying. All right, so from then on, it was a bit like, so what led him, he says that the cockpit of a plane is the most beautiful office in the world, but I didn't have any contact with the air. It was a bit like being in a box or a submarine underwater. From then on, okay, from then on means, from that time onwards, he therefore concentrated on becoming the first jet-powered flying man. So 38, this was what led him to experiment with different ways of flying. So 38 is, I think, is it D? Yeah, Rossi. All right. 39, he describes a mistake some beginners might make. He describes a mistake some beginners might make. Okay, so 39. The answer is C. Patrick Van der Balk. And he describes a mistake. Where did he describe a mistake? Okay, this is basically here. All right, this was the mistake he made. And lastly, 40. He mentions circumstances which prevent you from leaving the ground. Circumstances which prevent you from leaving the ground. The trouble is that paramotoring is ill-suited to commuting because of the impossibility of taking off. Taking off means leaving the ground to fly in strong winds. So here, this guy who is Chris Clark, okay, Chris Clark is mentioning circumstances which prevent you from leaving the ground. Okay, when you take off in strong winds, you can't leave the ground. So Chris Clark is B. Okay, so that is IELTS, Cambridge IELTS 9 reading general training B.